They laughed at her without sound. They judged her without words. They erased her without asking. And she accepted it in silence. Because sometimes silence is the only place a wounded soul can breathe. But what they did not know, what they never imagined, was that the quiet USA girl they ignored carried a truth so heavy that when it finally surfaced, it would shake their perfect world from the inside. This is not a story about shouting. This is a story about waiting. Waiting until truth walks into the room. And everyone who once looked away suddenly cannot look anywhere else. Her name was Evelyn Carter. Evelyn Carter grew up believing that dignity did not need an audience. She was born in a small coastal town in Oregon, where mornings smelled like salt and rain, and people learned early how to stand alone. Her parents taught her one rule: never explain your worth to people who profit from misunderstanding you. That lesson would follow her into the most painful chapter of her life. Evelyn was 27 when her older brother Daniel married into wealth. Real wealth. The kind that speaks softly but controls everything. Daniel fell in love with a woman named Vanessa Hale, daughter of a powerful real estate empire based in California. Private jets, country clubs, generational money, and a family name that opened doors before knocking. Evelyn attended the wedding quietly. She wore a simple dress. She smiled when spoken to. She stayed in the background. Not because she lacked confidence, but because she understood rooms where confidence was treated like currency. From the first dinner, she felt it. The looks, the pauses, the polite dismissals. Vanessa's parents spoke to her like a temporary inconvenience, a relative who would eventually disappear. They asked about Daniel's work, about his future, about investments and networks. But when Evelyn introduced herself, the conversation drifted away like smoke. She was not rude. She was invisible. At family gatherings, Evelyn was seated last, introduced last, remembered never. When gifts were exchanged, hers was always generic. A scarf, a candle, something safe and impersonal. No one asked about her life. No one asked about her work. No one asked who she was. And Evelyn never corrected them. Daniel noticed, of course. He noticed everything. But Daniel was walking a fragile line, trying to protect his place in a family that measured loyalty in compliance. He warned Evelyn gently. Please do not take it personally. They are just traditional. They do not understand people outside their world. Evelyn nodded. She always nodded. What Daniel did not know was that every nod cost her something. Evelyn worked as a consultant, but not the kind people expected. She specialized in crisis strategy, quietly hired by corporations when reputations were on the brink of collapse. She did not advertise. She did not attend conferences. Her success lived in non-disclosure agreements. Her clients trusted her with secrets worth millions. But at family dinners, she was just Daniel's sister. At one dinner, Vanessa's mother asked Evelyn a question, almost accidentally. So Evelyn, what do you do exactly? The table went silent. Evelyn felt the weight of expectation, the assumption that whatever she said would confirm what they already believed. She smiled softly. I help companies solve problems. That was it. Vanessa's father chuckled. A helper. The conversation moved on. No one noticed Evelyn's hands tighten beneath the table. Humiliation does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it slips in through indifference. Weeks turned into months. The treatment did not improve. It sharpened. At one holiday gathering, a distant cousin assumed Evelyn was hired help and asked her to refill glasses. Evelyn did it without comment. Daniel watched from across the room. Shame burned in his chest. But he said nothing. Later that night, he apologized. I am sorry, Ev. I never thought it would be like this. Evelyn placed a hand on. Months. She refuses attention. She refuses credit. Frankly, she terrifies my competitors. Eyes turned. Whispers spread. Vanessa's mother looked at Evelyn as if seeing her for the first time. Evelyn felt it. The shift. The recalibration. She did not gloat. She did not explain. She simply stood. And for the first time, They had no choice but to see her. The night was just beginning. The silence that followed Richard Monroe's words did not break immediately. It stretched. It thickened. It wrapped itself around every person in the room. Vanessa's mother was the first to recover. She smiled too quickly, too brightly, as if enthusiasm could erase the last 2 years. "Oh, how wonderful," she said. "Evelyn, we had no idea." Evelyn inclined her head politely. "That happens." Richard Monroe studied her with curiosity. "You always do this," he said quietly. "You enter rooms like a shadow, then change the temperature without raising your voice." Evelyn shrugged. "Rooms reveal themselves eventually." Vanessa's father cleared his throat. "Miss Carter, perhaps we could talk later. There are opportunities we should discuss." Evelyn met his eyes. Steady, calm, unimpressed. "Perhaps." Daniel watched from across the room, his chest tight, pride and regret crashing into each other. He remembered every moment he had stayed silent, every time he had told Evelyn to be patient, every dinner where she swallowed humiliation so he could belong. Now, the room was bending toward her. As the evening continued, people began approaching Evelyn, one by one, cautiously at first, then eagerly. A venture capitalist thanked her for advice she gave years ago. A senator's aide mentioned her name had been whispered during a crisis meeting. A tech founder admitted her guidance saved his company from collapse. Each interaction peeled away the illusion the Hale family had built around her. Vanessa stood near her parents, watching, her expression unreadable. She loved Daniel. That was true. But she had inherited the unspoken hierarchy of her family, where worth was calculated before kindness. She approached Evelyn slowly. "I did not know," she said. Evelyn looked at her sister-in-law. "I did not hide. I simply did not announce." Vanessa swallowed. "I am sorry." Evelyn considered the apology, then nodded. "Thank you." It was enough. And also not enough. Later that night, as the gala wound down, Vanessa's parents insisted Evelyn join them for drinks. They asked questions, careful ones, about her work, her clients, her influence. Evelyn answered selectively, never bragging, never diminishing. The balance of power had shifted, and they felt it. When the night ended, Daniel walked Evelyn to her car. "I failed you," he said. Evelyn stopped, looked at him. "You did not fail me. You chose love. That choice comes with shadows." Daniel's eyes filled. "I should have protected you." Evelyn softened. "Protection is loud. I chose silence." She left him standing there, with the truth settling heavily on his shoulders. The weeks that followed were strange. The Hale family suddenly included Evelyn. Invitations arrived. Private dinners. Business lunches. Vanessa's mother asked for advice. Vanessa's father sought introductions. Evelyn declined most. Not out of spite, but clarity. Respect given after discovery is not the same as respect given by default. One afternoon, Evelyn received a call from Richard Monroe. "I am acquiring a firm tied to your brothers-in-laws," he said. "I would like your perspective." Evelyn hesitated, then agreed. The meeting took place in a private office overlooking the city. Richard listened as Evelyn outlined risks no one else had seen. Her voice calm, her insight surgical. When she finished, Richard leaned back. "They underestimate you," he said. Evelyn smiled faintly. "They always do." Meanwhile, at a family dinner, Vanessa's parents spoke of Evelyn with reverence, as if proximity alone could rewrite history. Daniel listened, silent. He knew the truth. He had seen the cost. Later that night, he confronted Vanessa. "You treated her like nothing," he said. Vanessa bristled. "We did not know. You did not ask." The words hung between them. Vanessa looked away. "I thought she was comfortable staying small." Daniel shook his head. "She was surviving your comfort." That conversation changed their marriage in ways neither expected. Evelyn continued her work. Quietly, powerfully. But something inside her had shifted too. Silence had protected her, but it had also isolated her. when a young woman approached her after a conference, saying she felt invisible in elite spaces. Evelyn listened. Then she spoke. Silence is a shield. But do not mistake it for safety. Choose when to be quiet, not when others choose it for you. The words stayed with the girl. And with Evelyn. The Hale family attempted to repair what had been broken. But some fractures never disappear. They only become lessons. At another gathering, a guest joked about Evelyn being the quiet one. Vanessa corrected him immediately. She is the reason half this room still exists. Evelyn did not smile, but she noticed. Respect had arrived. Late, uninvited, but undeniable. Still, the deepest reckoning was yet to come. Because truth does not finish its work in one night. And the next revelation would not happen at a party. It would happen when everything the Hale family built stood on the edge of collapse. And the one person they once ignored would be the only one who could decide whether it fell. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Early. Urgent. Vanessa's father had always spoken with certainty. But this time, his voice trembled. Evelyn. We need to speak. Evelyn was standing by her apartment window, watching the city wake up. She already knew. The real estate firm that carried the Hale name, the empire built on confidence and leverage, was bleeding. A deal had collapsed overseas. A lawsuit was forming. Investors were restless. Evelyn listened without interruption. We are facing something serious, he admitted. Our advisors are divided. Some say we sell. Others say we fight. Evelyn said nothing. Finally, he asked, would you be willing to look at the situation? There it was. The request that would have once been an order now sounded like a plea. Evelyn closed her eyes briefly, then spoke. Send me everything. I will review. No promises. The pause on the other end was heavy, but grateful. When Evelyn entered the Hale offices 2 days later, no one mistook her for invisible. Executives stood. Assistants whispered. Board members watched. Vanessa's parents waited in the conference room. Tense. Humbled. Evelyn took her seat, placed her folder down, and began. You have a reputation problem, she said calmly. Your financial issue is a symptom. They exchanged looks. Your public image relies on stability. But stability is only believable when transparency exists. She walked them through the collapse, pointed out decisions fueled by ego, ignored warnings, silenced dissent. By the end, the room felt smaller. Vanessa's father rubbed his temples. Can you fix it? Evelyn met his gaze. Fix is not the right word. I can restructure the truth. He nodded slowly. Do it. Over the next weeks, Evelyn worked relentlessly. She held late-night calls, negotiated settlements, crafted narratives that did not lie, but revealed strategically. She insisted on one condition. Daniel would not be involved. This was not personal. It was professional. The firm stabilized. Stock stopped falling. Investors paused their exit. And slowly, confidence returned. But something else changed too. Inside the Hale household, dynamics shifted. Vanessa's mother began deferring to Evelyn, asking before acting, listening instead of instructing. Vanessa struggled. She was caught between gratitude and discomfort. The power balance she had grown up with no longer held. One evening, she confronted Evelyn. I feel like I do not know you, she said. Evelyn looked at her. You never asked. Vanessa flinched. I thought humility meant smallness. Evelyn shook her head. Humility means knowing when not to perform. The words stayed with Vanessa. As the crisis resolved, the board praised Evelyn. Publicly, privately, offers poured in. She declined most. Then Richard Monroe called again. You could own your own firm now, he said. Name it. Build it. Evelyn considered it. That night, she visited Daniel. They sat quietly. Siblings again. Without titles. Without expectations. I should have spoken sooner, Daniel said. Evelyn nodded. Yes. Then smiled. But we both survived it. Daniel asked. Do you forgive them? Evelyn thought carefully. Forgiveness is not access, she said. It is release. The Hale family hosted a dinner to celebrate recovery. They insisted Evelyn sit at the head. She declined, choosing a seat beside Daniel. Power does not need positioning. During the dinner, Vanessa's father raised a toast. To Evelyn, whose brilliance saved us. Evelyn lifted her glass slightly. Every swallowed explanation. Silence had been her armor. But armor left marks. The story was not over. Because sometimes, the final test of dignity is not proving your worth. It is deciding who gets to stay once it is known. After the crisis passed, after the praise settled, after the Hale family regained their footing, a quiet distance formed. Not from Evelyn, but around her. People were careful now. Words were chosen. Tones softened. The same people who once ignored her now watched her too closely. Evelyn noticed. Respect born from fear feels different. It listens, but it never relaxes. Vanessa felt it most. Her parents deferred to Evelyn. Her husband looked at his sister with new admiration. And Vanessa felt smaller than she ever had. One evening, she finally spoke. I feel like I lost my place, Vanessa said. They were alone in the living room. Lights dim. House silent. Evelyn did not respond immediately. Your place was never taken, she said. It was revealed. Vanessa's voice cracked. I grew up believing power meant never needing permission. Evelyn looked at her gently. Power is knowing when you are wrong. And staying present anyway. Tears fell. Uncontrolled. I am sorry for every time I let them treat you like nothing. Evelyn watched her, then nodded. I know. That night, something shifted between them. Not closeness, but honesty. Weeks later, Evelyn made a decision. She declined Richard Monroe's offer to build an empire in her name. Instead, she launched something quieter. A private advisory network, focused on ethical crisis leadership. No publicity. No spotlight. Word spread anyway. Daniel supported her. Vanessa respected her. The Hale parents admired her. But admiration did not equal intimacy. At a family gathering, Vanessa's mother asked, Are we forgiven? The question hung heavy. Evelyn answered truthfully. Forgiveness does not rewrite memory. It just removes poison. They nodded, understanding more than accepting. Time passed. At another gala, another elite room, someone made a dismissive joke about a quiet woman nearby. Evelyn interrupted. Do not mistake silence for absence, she said calmly. The room shifted. The woman looked up, grateful. Later, Daniel asked, Do you regret staying quiet for so long? Evelyn considered. Silence protected me, she said. But speaking now protects others. That was the difference. Vanessa's father approached her weeks later. You changed us, he admitted. Evelyn shook her head. I revealed you. He absorbed that. The family was no longer blind. But awareness comes with discomfort. At the final family dinner of the year, there were no speeches, no toasts, just conversation. Real, uneven, human. Evelyn sat comfortably, not centered, not hidden, present. She had learned something powerful. You do not need to humiliate those who humiliated you. You only need to outgrow the room. And sometimes, the bravest revenge is dignity. Only one part remains. The quiet ending. The final truth. The moment that lingers. The last change came without warning. It was not dramatic. It was not public. It did not happen in a ballroom or a boardroom. It happened on an ordinary afternoon. Evelyn was packing. To leave. Not moving. Just stepping back. She had decided to return to Oregon for a while. To the coast. To the quiet mornings. To the place where she learned how to stand without witnesses. Daniel came to see her before she left. I used to think strength meant fighting, he said. But you never fought them. Evelyn smiled softly. I fought myself. Every day. Daniel's voice broke. I should have chosen you louder. Evelyn hugged him. You chose me by becoming better. That matters. When the Hale family heard she was leaving, They panicked in ways they did not expect. Vanessa's mother asked, "Did we drive you away?" Vanessa asked, "Will you come back?" Vanessa's father asked, "Can we still call you when things go wrong?" Evelyn answered each honestly. "I am not leaving because of you. I am leaving because I no longer need to stay." Silence followed. Not the old humiliating silence, but the kind that understands. On her last night, Vanessa came to her quietly. "I see you now," she said. Evelyn nodded. "That is enough." Years later, people would still talk about the night Evelyn Carter was discovered. The gala, the revelation, the shock. But that was never the moment that mattered most. The moment that mattered was every dinner where she was ignored, every smile she swallowed, every time she chose dignity over explanation. Because humiliation did not break her. It sharpened her. The Hale family changed. Slowly, uncomfortably, permanently. They became careful with silence. They learned to look twice. They learned that power does not announce itself. Daniel became stronger. Not because he married into wealth, but because he learned to stand beside truth. And Evelyn Carter returned to the sea. She worked quietly, helped carefully, spoke when needed. She never chased rooms again. Because she understood something rare. When people finally see your worth, you do not owe them access. You do not owe them closeness. You do not owe them forgiveness. You only owe yourself peace. And sometimes, the strongest voice is the one that never needed to shout.